Just be a person. You're gonna die.
Take a bath every day, otherwise you're a peasant with some dirt feet. Suck on that, Cindy.
I suggested this guy at work. His daughter has chickens, and they were talking about the chickens are starting to get old, and that somebody's gonna have to bury the chickens when they die. And I was like, why don't y'all just like kill them and eat them? And she's like, well, he said, well, she treats the chickens kind of like how you would treat dogs. And I was like, well, if my dog was tasty, I'd probably eat his ass.
Well, I'm not going to lie, if my dog was livestock, I'm going to respect him more by doing him the honor of feasting upon his flesh. Because it's kind of wasteful to bury the chicken. You know what I mean? Like, eat him. It's a natural prey animal.
He did have a good argument. He says, why would I do that when I can just go buy a chicken for like $5?
Well, those chickens are treated poorly, and it costs money. This one's been treated great, and it's free. I bet he tastes lovely.
We're getting super off topic. How did we get here?
I don't know.
Damn.
I can't read.
We're talking about birds. I got a NFL scouting report on a ball hawk.
Ooh.
Ball hawk. Nobody cares about this show, so I'm going to talk about the people that I want to talk about, all right?
Even if they did care.
I'm going to suck.
Talk your shit, King. Speak your mind.
Don't call me King, bro. I hate that shit. I fucking hate when people do that.
King.
Young King, bro. It's like, you know King. You know fucking King of what?
I'm just trying to not be a peasant, and that's all this is.
King, just be a person. You're going to die.
Take a bath every day, otherwise you're a peasant with some dirt feet.
Facts. So I'm a Stanford fan. I'm going to keep talking about Stanford people. Paulson Adebo. Adebo is a 6'1", 198-pound cornerback out of the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Being slept on. He's like number 12 on the list of cornerbacks on a lot of these shits. Yeah. And like you've watched him play.
Yeah, I have.
He's not that bad.
My man's legit. He got burnt a couple times only because he's aggressive.
So in 22 games, he has 8 interceptions and 30 knockdowns.
Damn.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I was reading a scouting report, and basically they're like, don't throw the ball near him because he'll go up and get that.
That's what I'm saying.
But he needs to work on his agility and his tackling. And to me, this sounds really similar to the scouting report of another Stanford cornerback that ended up being really good for a few years. Ricardine Shermano.
Ricardine Shermano. Oh, wasn't he endorsed by Gatorade?
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, man, that's one of the things I actually love about being a Stanford fan, because, like, if you're an Alabama fan, none of your players are slept on. Like, it never happens. I love being a Stanford fan because the talent that they actually get at the farm is good talent, right? They don't always have high-powered seasons. They're not winning every year. But if you look at the players that have come out of Stanford, there's been a lot of success over the last 10 years. And that's why it's always fun for me to go and dig through the scouting reports and do stuff on my favorite team, because it's like, well, here we go. Like, let's see. Is there another Doug Baldwin out there? Is there another Richard Sherman out there? Because Richard Sherman was a wide receiver turned cornerback, real angry at Jim Harbaugh over that whole process, and ended up being one of the best cornerbacks in the league for like 5 years. So that's why I like doing this. Like Ohio State, y'all know what's coming out of Ohio State.
5 stars all day, every day.
All day. You guys don't have backups. You got more starters.
We have three lineups of starters at all these other schools. Yeah, shout out to Cardale Jones. 12 gauge. National championship, baby.
I liked him. He was not very
He came
smart,
through at like the right time.
Sling that
like
bitch.
He would not have been a good full season quarterback. He was a good in that moment quarterback.
I definitely was a fan. So when you're done drinking that coffee, you got a Caught Slippin for us. I know it's on here. Oh, you got a 2-piece and a biscuit.
What?
Caught Slippin. Who you got?
Caught Slippin this week. Mr. Dillon Danis went on the Flagrant 2 podcast to hang out with them cats down in Miami, and he dropped some yet to be determined, but allegedly dropped some dirt on the GOAT himself, Gordon Ryan, and his little girlfriend down there, Hey Sony, at Hey Sony 2, because she's so scantless on Instagram, they keep deleting her page. But Dillon Danis went on the podcast, and he was slinging shit on everyone, as he does, which is why we like Dillon Danis. He's just our type of cat. Conor McGregor's homie, Bellator MMA fighter, 2-0, undefeated, trying to get a fight with Jake Paul. Had some beef with most people in the jiu-jitsu community. I'm going to lay this all down for you. Talked so much shit that he used to train under the legendary Marcelo Garcia. Asked him to leave the academy because he's so fucking cocky and arrogant and wouldn't stop talking shit that they booted his ass out. Started linking up with Conor, and then you know how that fucking goes. You do fucking nothing. Anyway,
Well, Conor's jiu-jitsu is okay for a brown belt.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
We'll say, as far as MMA and jiu-jitsu, Dillon Danis, top tier grappler in fucking all of MMA.
Yeah.
He's only 2-0. Young cat, he's coming up. The dude's gonna be a fucking problem. Anyway, he goes on there and he's talking about how Gordon Ryan's girlfriend wants him and all this and that. Goes on even to say that at one of the competitions when Gordon was out there competing, that she snuck backstage to lay one on him with a little kiss. And he was like, nah, ho, it ain't like that. Well, the GOAT himself took to the Instagram, as he does, because he's a social media fucking savant. And he starts letting it fly, talking about how, one, they've had a grappling match, a jiu-jitsu match, which Gordon Ryan won on points. Like, I'll give Dillon Danis that. He was trying to dance around it, but it was on points. So this was younger, way younger days, smaller Gordon Ryan, not quite GOAT status that he is now. But Gordon goes on to just air him the fuck out. He's talking about how he was supposed to have a match for like ADCC, and he backed out because his girlfriend broke up with him because she was getting plowed out by like the whole defensive line for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and like all this other shit. Just like roasting that man. If you want to get the details, go hit Gordon Ryan's Instagram. I'm sure it's all up in his story. He's got like 6,000 little dings all the way.
At Gordon Loves Jiu-Jitsu.
There it is. But Dillon Danis got caught slipping, trying to speak on the GOAT, throw some shade, and the GOAT aired his ass out.
Also called him out for a jiu-jitsu match in which he said he'd give him 10 grand if he could win.
Gordon said he'd give him 10 grand of his own money. He said, I'll put 10 cash on it, which isn't new for Gordon. Gordon's went so far as to offer up $100K to like top name jiu-jitsu fighters to go against him, and they won't do it because they fucking know better.
And he said that he will publicly call the submission
a week in advance.
He will publicly, a week in advance, publicly call
and
it.
He's not. And this isn't cap because the king don't cap. Gordon Ryan, in his last 2 matches against, I'm talking the top tier contenders in his division, fucking everyone else up. He writes down on a piece of paper, hands it to the commentating staff, and says, "Open it when my match starts." His match starts, they open it, it'll be like submission via mounted armbar. He goes out, does his match, submission via mounted armbar. He did that at 2 different events in a row. He's just like, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Like, these dudes can't, like, it's not about beating them. It's like, I'll tell you how I'm going to beat them. He's like Mystic Mac if he could actually fight.
Pretty much. I got you. I'm super interested in that fight. I don't want to talk about it too much now because it's in July. There. I'm gonna let it flow.
Simmer.
Let it float around in the ether. Let you guys percolate, gather your opinions, figure out where it's at, and then we're gonna tell you.
I would like to say one thing though on Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier 3, July 10th. The fact that there's a little bit of bad blood going on, and Conor has yet to say anything negative about Dustin Poirier's hot sauce, tells me that must be a legitimate fucking hot sauce. And as a connoisseur myself, I'll agree. I put that shit on literally fucking everything. Sometimes I put it on Poot just when he's acting bad, just so he chills the fuck out. And he smells nicer.
Respectively, Dustin also hasn't said anything about Conor's whiskey.
Also not bad.
Did Conor actually give him the
Probably
whiskey?
Not.
I think he did. I think he did after the fight.
I think he gave him a bottle, but he probably took it back off camera the way he's been acting.
Yeah. That's fucking mine.
That's $21.99.
I need this to smack my shins so I can get my legs straight.
What's wild is Khabib's been out here coming for Conor with this whole Conor failed to give the donation money. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Conor failed to provide the $500,000 donation to Dustin Poirier's Good Fight Foundation, as agreed upon.
Khabib needed one. By the way, I was looking at Khabib's whole career. He just started getting to the point to where he was finishing people. And he missed out on doing it one more time. One time he would have actually had a legit pay-per-view that everyone would have watched, probably against Dustin Poirier right now, for the strap after Dustin knocks out Conor, and would have probably smashed Dustin again, and probably would have finished him, and would have cemented his legacy and actually gave him forever clout. Because what I've noticed is Khabib is just like the amount of people that give a fuck about him. Like every time Conor posted anything on Instagram, there was always people Khabib, and now like nobody's really talking. Maybe one or two, and like everyone's like, forget about Khabib.
I mean, we kind of gotta let Khabib go. He said, I don't see Khabib coming back. Like in my mind, the only hope of Khabib coming back died when Tony Ferguson took his L to Oliveira.
Right, but what I'm saying is his aura of people giving a shit about him is also leaving.
Maybe.
Right, like, and he's still trying to maintain relevance. Right, showing up to the fights, Holland talking to him in the corner, doing all this crap.
Spaghetti Man doesn't wrestle. False. Spaghetti Man does wrestle.
So you get what I'm saying. Like he's slowly losing
his public eye
ground in the popularity. Yeah, which I don't think he really needs it as a Muslim in Dagestan. Like he's kind of just like more worried about the legacy, even though he is rolling around in benzos.
But most of the time, like that's the UFC giving him those. You know what I mean? But this is a dude with millions and millions of dollars that lives in the same house that he like basically grew up in the same like poor, war-torn country. Like this dude don't give a fuck about social media.
I appreciate what he is.
Oh yeah.
I also think it's crazy that dude is pretty much like the only guy coming out of that area in Dagestan that is on that level.
Yeah, there's a lot of great Dagestani wrestlers, but you've seen them. They've been getting submitted, KO'd. Like Khabib is he's special. He's a special thing, and I don't think until he started finishing fights, like you said, we didn't appreciate it as much.
Right, but like I said, finishing Conor, finishing Dustin,
Gaethje.
Finishing Gaethje, one more for everyone to watch would have been it.
Well, I think that would have been Tony Ferguson, only for the reason that his father really wanted him to fight Tony. They had lined up to fight Tony 5 times, signed agreements. So that was like the only chance I seen him actually getting to 30-0. So when Tony took that L to Oliveira and he was out of the running, like that was it. That was our last chance.
Yep.
I think Oliveira would be the best matchup, but it's just not feasible, so let's not waste our time.
Yep. So I have a question, an MMA question. I thought about this.